It's Friday night. The Chicago Bulls are about to play. We'll see if they can get out of their losing streak. Maybe, maybe not. I'm optimistic. So check the score later and see if the Bulls beat the Pacers. If they did, give me a comment. If they didn't, I don't know what you do. Anyway, we're back. It's day 5. Having a code. I almost forgot today, but I didn't. So here we are. As always, I'm going to be writing Elm code over here, hitting compile, and then you're going to see it over here. And I haven't looked at the problem yet. Let's see if this makes me late for the game in 1 hour. Let's dive in. Day 5 cafeteria. As the forklifts break through the wall, the elves are delighted to discover that there was a cafeteria on the other side after all. I don't remember the plot. I hear a commotion in the kitchen. At this rate, we won't have any time left to put the wreaths up on the dining hall. Resolute in your quest, you investigate. If only we hadn't switched to the new inventory management system right before Christmas. The elves in the kitchen explain the situation. Because of their complicated new inventory management system, they can't figure out which of their ingredients are fresh and which are spoiled. When you ask how it works, they give you a copy of their database, your puzzle input. Database operates on ingredient IDs. It consists of a list of fresh ingredient ranges, a blank line, and a list of available ingredient IDs. For example, the fresh ID ranges are inclusive. Range 3 to 5 means the ingredients IDs 3, 4, and 5 are all fresh. The ranges can also overlap. An ingredient ID is fresh if it is in any range. Okay, these are the fresh ones. The elves are trying to determine which of the available ingredient IDs are fresh. In this example, this is done as follows. 1 is spoiled because it does not fall into any range. 5 is fresh because it falls into this first range. Sorry, I'm trying to select one thing and it keeps selecting everything. 8 is spoiled because it's not in the ranges. Ingredient ID 11 is fresh because it falls into the range 10, 14. Yeah, 3 of them are fresh. Cool. All right, well, this doesn't seem too scary up front. We'll see what part 2 does to us. But yeah, let's dive in. So I've just copied the puzzle input. We've got some strings. We've got this kind of like double new line here. So I kind of want to split our one string into 2 so that we have here all of our ranges, and then we have here all of the ones that we're curious to check. So what I want to do is kind of turn this into, I guess, information. So this is going to take a list of strings. And what we're going to do, I'm just going to actually take the single puzzle input, and maybe we'll be able to parse some nice information out of this. Information is a type that I'm going to make up here. This is going to give me our ranges, which is a list of, just make a type called range, which will have a min and a max. And then values will be a list of integers that we want to check. So hopefully we can take all this input and get it in this nice data structure here. So range has a min int and a max int. And what we want to do is, I'm going to take this and I'm going to say to information. We're going to take in the input. And I'm going to say, if we split by this double new line, hopefully we've got 2 things. Here you can see that we did get 2 things, but we will only really be able to handle the situation where this is a valid puzzle input and kind of have like a header here. So I'm just going to call this the header and the body. And what this is going to allow me to do is split this into lines and then turn that into ranges. So ranges will be a list of ranges. What we're going to do is we're going to take that header, hit a few new lines here. We're going to take the header and we're going to keep doing pipeline stuff. We are going to do string dot lines. That is going to give us just 3, 5, 10 to 14, all of these strings as individuals in a list. And then what I want to do is I want to do a filter map to range. So to range, I'm going to take in a single string. and maybe it'll be able to get a range. And I'm using filter map to get rid of all of the kind of invalid things. So if we find a string like this, we're just going to ignore it. It's not a valid range. So similarly, we're going to have a string here. And what I want to do is I want to do a similar thing where we just split, but instead of splitting on double new lines, we're going to split on that dash character. And so if we get a min string and a max string, what I'm going to do is I'm going to call maybe.map2 and pass it into range. So first I need to get that maybe, the min string. And in a previous video this year, we saw how map2 kind of takes this, and if they're both valid, then it runs them through range. And type aliases for records in Elm are basically just shortcuts for doing this. And they follow the order that you declare the fields. So this is going to end up here if it's valid. This is going to end up here if it's valid. And then we're going to put it in this record here. All of that is just a longer way to use this as like a constructor. And because min comes first and max comes second, it's going to know to take this value, put it in min, and take this value and put it in max. So hopefully that makes sense. But for any other input, we're just going to say that's invalid. And we're going to do the same thing here when we come back to this. But this should give us a list of those ranges. I wish I could just show you that. I guess maybe I can. I just want to show you my progress as I do it so that you're not totally surprised when everything is working. Input. Oh yeah, this is called string. And I guess we'll do this. So here, what you'll see is for each of these lines, we've got valid ranges. We've got our min and max 3 to 5. We've got 10, 14. We've got 16 and 20 and 12 and 18. So that first bit of logic is working. But instead of returning only the ranges, what we want to do is we want to return information. And information is a record that has a ranges field and a values field. And so how are we going to get those values? Well, we're going to take a look at that body. And the way we're going to get at that is we're just going to break this into lines and then do a string.toInt with our filter map. So it's going to be really similar to this, except we're going to work off the body instead of a header. And then instead of doing toRange, we're going to do string.toInt. It's kind of fun seeing toRange take something into a maybe something. And so we got to use like a built-in version of that Elm provides, and we got to make our own. So whether it's a custom type or a built-in type, this filter map is really handy for doing this kind of stuff. So if I compile this, you'll see that we've got our ranges. We've got all 4 ranges, and then we've got our values. And they're numbers. They're not strings. So if there's any invalid input, you'll see it's not going to make it into our program, and we don't have to handle weird errors later on. Now that we've kind of parsed our information and we're ready to operate on it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to loop through all the values. And then for each number, I'm going to kind of test it against these ranges. And if it's included, I'm going to increment a value. So I'm going to say list.foldL. And we're just going to collect. I guess we're going to count. We're going to count the spoiled foods, right? And that's what we're up to. And so this, I guess count spoiled foods can be its own function. This is going to take in our information. It's going to take in all that, and it's going to give us back a single integer telling us how much spoiled food we have. And I'm going to comment this out for now so that we can kind of see how this value transforms over time. And I'm going to do a maybe.map here. What that's going to do is count spoiled foods will only get called if information was not a maybe. So we want to make sure that we're not running this code if something went wrong. Cool. Okay, so we've got our info, we've got our values. So here, this should just give us that list of values. And then what I want to do is now I want to do that fold L. And I'm just going to call this loop. And what we're going to do is we're going to start with a count of 0. That's how many spoiled foods that we find before we start looping. That's like kind of our base value. Are we? Oh, we're counting fresh foods, right? Okay, how many are fresh? Count fresh foods. Great. And so what I want to do is this loop is going to want access to those ranges. So we're going to make a loop function. It is going to take in those ranges, that list of ranges that we built up. We're passing it in as the first argument. And then it's going to take each value one at a time. And what it's going to do is it's going to say list.any range, and we'll do ... and I'll pass in the ranges. I want to return true if any of these ranges have the value in it. So if range.min is less than equal to value and range.max is greater than, I guess I'll do it this way, value is less than equal to range max. So if this is true, then I want to increment that count. I guess instead of using a fold, I can just use a filter. We can use list.extra.count, which was something that we saw in the previous video. That's basically a filter and then gets the length. So what's cool about this is I can say is fresh. Let me kind of simplify this. So this will take in a list of ranges. This will take in a value and it'll return true if it's fresh. And loop is not a function anymore. So here we have the answer. We've got just 3. And so what we did was, we took in information, we counted up all of the fresh fruits. And so most of the work that we did here was just parsing. And so now that I've finished the code here, I'm just adding back in these annotations and formatting things. But yeah, let's save this. I'm going to duplicate the tab. And we're going to try it with our puzzle input. See if I screwed anything up. Look at those ranges. Those are big ranges. 694. Awesome. That's 1 gold star. I'm really grateful that we didn't create a set of all the possible numbers and just check like set.member, because that's a lot of numbers. So it's good that we're just using bounds checking here and we're not like looping over every single number in this range. That would have ended poorly. But yeah, let's dive into part 2 and see if I bite my tongue. Okay, elves start bringing their spoiled inventory to the trash chute at the back of the kitchen so that they can stop bugging you about when they get new inventory. The elves would like to know all of the IDs that the fresh ingredient ID range is considered to be fresh. An ingredient ID is still considered fresh if it is in any range. Now the second section of the database is irrelevant. Here are the fresh ingredient ID ranges from the above example. The ingredient IDs that these ranges consider to be fresh are 3 to 20. Oh, I see. 3, 4, 5, 10, 11. Okay, cool. So there's overlap here, and we want to count. This will be fun. So here we only care about this initial input. We don't care about these test values. Okay, this is going to be a trip. So I'm going to rename this part 2. I'm going to undo that change. We're back to just 3. And so what it wants us to do is basically this doesn't matter. It just cares about the ranges. So I'm gonna still parse the information. I'm just not going to look at the values. So rather than counting the fresh foods, we're going to want to do something else with these ranges. We're going to basically want to accumulate how many values we found here. 3 to 5. That's interesting. So I'm gonna try to think this through in a little block comment here. So with 3 to 5, what I can do is I can take for the first thing, I can say the max minus the min. So that'll be 5 minus 3 is 2. And so if it was just, oops. I don't know why this is being so weird. There we go. So if it was just this first line, the answer would be 2. With 10 to 14, I want to know if there's any overlap. So, for example, if I just kept doing this, and I said 4, and then I did that for all of these, it would be fine. Oops. I'm messing up my input here. It would be fine until I got here. Because here, I would be double counting the 13. I'd be double counting the 12, the 13, the 14. Oh, sorry, this is 2 plus 1, because it's inclusive, isn't it? So it's going to be min max plus 1. So these are 3, 5, 5, and 7. Because I want to do 3, 4, 5. So 3, 4, 5 get counted here. Here, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Get counted here. And then here I go 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Oh, then I think I just made that 6 because I was doing 5, 6, 7. It shouldn't be 6, it should be 5. And then here 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. I basically want to know that these are getting double counted, but you saw the size of those numbers. It's going to be too much if I just insert these into a set, because I'm going to be looping through a lot of stuff. It's going to be a lot faster, and I think my computer will be able to handle the computation if I'm not actually keeping track of these numbers in this like insert into the set kind of way. We can try that. I have a strong feeling with these numbers here. We're dealing with 2 0 0 0 0 0 0, like 2 billion numbers, and so I don't want to insert 2 billion integers into a list. I think that's going to be a bad time. So what I need to figure out is how can I keep track of the ranges I've already scanned and kind of subtract them out of the set. So it's like I almost want to delete for each range. I want to take the previous ranges and like almost cut them out. So like here I'm picturing like I want to cut this out and I want to cut this out. And so for this single range, it's just 15. But what's interesting is that the ranges aren't continuous, so I can't just keep track of the lowest and the highest. That would cut out too much. That would cut out the 15. So I need to kind of have a function that I mean, cut might be a great way to think about it. Maybe it's a bad way to think about it. But if it takes in yeah. So let's just focus on this first step here. So I'm going to do this. So what I want this function to do, and sorry this formatting gets so weird. What I want this first function to do is if I call cut with, I'm just going to use kind of weird syntax, with 3 to 5, and I call cut with 12 to 18, or I'm sorry, not 3 to 5. If I call it with 10 to 14 and 12 to 18, I want this to return this. I want it to say, give me a new range. Because I think if I do this, I can kind of keep looping over my previous ranges and just slicing them. So if you imagine for this one, I would try to call cut here. So I'd call cut 3 times for this fourth range. And we don't have very many ranges. We have like however many this is, but that's like, I don't know, 40 or 50 or something. That's not a lot of steps in terms of computers. It's a lot of steps in terms of me doing it in comments. But the idea that I'm thinking is if I cut out 3 to 5, and then I cut out 10 to 14, I cut out 16 to 20, I'll be left with kind of the new range because, oh, I might have multiple ranges because I might cut out a middle. So this is really going to be a list of ranges at the end. Yeah, so we're going to take in a list of ranges, and that's how this function is going to work. And we're going to kind of fold, and we're going to keep running it over and over again. So let's start with kind of where we start. We have 12 to 18. It comes in. We try to cut out range 3 to 5, and because that's not part of any of these ranges, we just return everything as is. But when we come in to cut these numbers out of here, and I'm gonna insert these brackets just to be clear about like how many items are in the list. This will return 15 to 18 because we've cut out the 12, the 13, the 14. And so this kind of goes away. And so just to help visualize, this is kind of what we sliced out of it. And then what we're going to do is we're not going to pass in 12 to 18 here. We're going to take this output and we're going to feed it in here. So each time we do this, we're just going to cut a little bit more out of it. And so when 16 and 20 comes along, we're going to end up with, I guess 15 to 15. The low and the high are going to be the same, and that's okay. But basically that's going to be because at this step, we're going to want to cut this out and just be left with 15. I don't really know if it matters in my little notes where I put the comma, but the idea is we're going to keep doing that. And the reason this is a list is I was a little bit nervous about this situation. Imagine we have a range that comes in that is 14, 15, and we're given that 12 to 18 range. It's important that this is a list because here we're going to want to keep 12 and 13. And we're going to want to keep 16 to 18. So it's possible that we're going to do that cut in the middle of the list. And so we're going to create more. But what's cool about this is when this is all said and done, we just have to count how many are left. So at the end of this, it was 15. At the end of this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This would be 5. Sorry, at the end of this, we just have one item left in the list. And then we're going to accumulate those. So for each kind of range as we go, we're going to be cutting all the ranges that came before it. So I think that's the algorithm that we need to make. So let's, I don't know what to call this. This is the range to slice. These are the ranges that we're kind of accumulating. And so what I want to do is for each range, I want to do ranges, list dot concat slice range. And so this concat map is going to allow slice range. I'll call this cut list. I'll call it cuts, that the comments are the same. But now we've got cut, we've got slice. Cut one. How about that? That'll be less verbs I'm just throwing around at you. But what we're going to do is we're going to take in one range at a time, and we're either going to return a single range when we're done, or we will have cut out the middle and return no ranges. But so this is going to be the range to slice, and this is going to be a single range, range to slice. This is going to be the, I don't know, whatever, previous, current, previous range, and we'll just call this the range. Okay, so here we are. We're gonna basically zoom into this. So for each of these, what I want to do is say if range.min, just looking at like some examples. So if the range.min is greater than the previous min, this is this kind of case, like if this is greater than this, or if this is greater than this, what do I want? I always want the max. I guess no, the previous max. So this, between this and this, how am I gonna do this? If the range's minimum is, I guess, in between the max. Yeah, greater than the min. And the range's min less than the max. So if this number falls in between this, then I want to return the minimum is this number, so the previous max. I'm so glad that I have examples. This might lead me astray. And then this max depends. So imagine this is a big number, like 200. They're both in the range. This will depend. So it really, so this is maybe another if. If range.max less than previous max, previous man, then we're just going to cut out the whole thing. Imagine if this was like 11 through 13. We're just going to return an empty list. And I'm going to add examples here. So I'm going to say, this is the example where we have 10 to 20. And we have like 15 to 18. So in this case, everything's already been covered. We can just completely ignore this. Otherwise, what if they're the same? This is 14. Yeah, we'll do 14 to, oh no, oh, we want it to be less than or equal. If they're both the same, we don't want to return anything. Just like here, we don't want to return anything. So the equals covers this case. So this is the equals, this is the less. So if 18 is less than 20, or if 20 equals 20, we can totally cut out this range. Now I'm going to come back and think about this. I've never actually done this where I've like added examples in the comments. This is like helpful for me to explain it to you. Maybe this is a good strategy for me to use in life. So we definitely know like these examples exist, but there's also other examples that exist where this number is lower. So I'm going to get rid of this. But imagine this is 16. This is the next kind of case that I want to handle. So I'm going to kind of handle these two cases. And then that's where I think this needs to be, I think these both need to be inclusive. I think this all needs to be inclusive. And what's weird is I think this function is the same as this function. Like in bounds, you know, I could probably just say in bounds, but whatever. Let's make that function. Sorry, in bounds. Take a value, it'll take a range and return a boolean. Num range, and it's going to be if n is greater than or equal to range.min and n is less than or equal to range.max. So what I'm asking here is this in the bounds of my previous range? And I can use this here too. It's kind of overkill. I don't need to check the lower because I know things are ordered, but I know range max is greater than or equal to this. Let me just think this through. If my incoming is 1020. Yeah, I want to clip out the whole thing. So that works too. If range.min and range.max are the same, which will come up in like this situation where we return 1515, I want to make sure that I'm doing that right. Okay, so we're over here. What I wanted to say here is that this, I want the min to be the previous max, and I want the max to stay where it is. And this didn't cut out the middle. So that's if the min is in that. I think there's going to be something similar. Let's just type it out to be sure. Else, this is in bounds. So let's think of some examples of this. This is like if I have a 10, 20, and 8 is out of the range, but 15 is in the range. So this this would return false here. So else if this says that 15 is in that range, I want to do something similar if in bounds. I'm so glad I made that in bounds function. It's paying off big time. And I think the same logic applies. Let me just test one case to make sure that I'm not just blindly over applying this rule. I don't think this can get hit because this would have, so this can't happen based on the structure of my program. So I'm always in the else branch. I can't be here if this wasn't caught. So this is kind of like the combination of them both. To the point where I almost want to do this. Just for clarity. Else if both inbounds. This is fun. I mean, this is confusing, but it's fun. Okay, so if they're both contained in the range, just delete the whole thing. That is really clear, and that makes sense to me. This one, if this is saying if this and not this, right? Because the else. So here this is saying if only the minimum is in there, we'll just return that. Otherwise, you'll return the previous max. Sorry, the previous min. So, and the range min. So we'll keep our 8, but we're only going to go up to 10. It's like -1 though. We only want to go up to 9. We want this to say 8, 9. And we want this to say 10 to 16. I want this to say 10 to 14. So I think this is also -1. And in a real like situation, if this was like a production app, Elm Test is really great for this. You can just write all these test cases and then have them all spit out for you. But since we're doing it in the browser, it's kind of crazy what's going on. Here we want, 10, 15, which does sound like subtracting 1 from the, wait. Oh yeah, this is backwards. Min should stay the same. What? Oh, I'm mixing up my examples. That's why I'm getting tripped up. Okay, so if the max is in between these, yeah. Okay, this is good. I think maybe this code goes here. I think I talked through the right part. So the min stays the same, and the max is the previous min, which is, sorry, the previous max minus 1. Plus 1. Right, so this is the previous. Oh gosh, I'm getting my stuff flipped. Now I'm being super confusing. Okay, sorry. This is my thing. If I want to cut out the left thing, I want to cut out this, so I want 17. I want this one and 18. Okay, so this is right. I was getting mixed up about the order of the arguments. Sorry about that. If you're screaming watching the video, I caught it before there was too much damage. So here this is 17 to 20, right? If I want to cut this from this, I still want to cut that out. So does that happen? Do I take the previous as min? No, this is the minimum. Oh yeah, the previous is min. I still want my own min plus. Here I want 16 plus. Yeah, the previous max plus 1. Previous, I'm going to do this so I stop wrecking myself. That's how you save lives, all right? So previous max plus 1 in both cases. That looks right. And then the max can stay the same. Because we're not in this case where we cut everything out. So I'm just going to copy this so I don't get mixed up as we're explaining this next one. Okay, so for this one, if I'm trying to cut out 10 and 20, is this a valid range? If my min is in bounds, my min is not in bounds here. So this is a 15. But this is out of bounds, so this is like a 25. I'm so confused. Did I switch these? Gosh, I'm really trying to wreck myself. If the max is in bounds, so 30, 20. The min is in bounds. Min is in bounds. Great. The min is in bounds. It is. Here, the min is in bounds and the max is in bounds. So get rid of the whole thing. It's completely inside the set. In bounds, in bounds, in the bounds, in the bounds. Great. Sorry. I'm back. All right, now I'm asking, is the max in bounds? And we know the min is not in bounds because we would have caught that up here. So 15 comes in. What I want to return here is I want to cut the 20 to 30 out. So here it's keep my min, but give me one less than the previous min. Keep my min the same. This is a syntax saying don't change it. Oops. Wow, that was close. I hit some keyboard shortcut. Let me hit a save before something terrible happens to me. Okay, so this says keep the range as is, just change the max. So this only changes the max. This says keep the range as is, just change the min. So 18 and 20 will be preserved, but the min will change. Okay. So now we're in this third scenario. If the part I'm cutting doesn't completely contain it, and it's not over here, and it's not over here, there's two other situations. They don't overlap at all. Else if don't overlap at all, or they both overlap. What I'm trying to do is if the previous min is in range. But I think my order might be messed up here, so I think I want to move this higher. Otherwise, they don't overlap at all. And just return the range. I gotta think through if this eliminates things. So this is the case I'm thinking of. It cuts it in the middle. So remember this one? This is what I want. This is the case I'm thinking of. So in this example, what I want to know is, does this get hit? Is the min in bounds? No, it's not. Is the max in bounds? No, it's not. So I think this is the right spot to insert this, but we'll see. Maybe our output will be wrong, and this will be the first place that I check if I remember. But I want to check if the entire range, the min and the max, are completely a subset of it, because if they are, I want to do a cut. And the cut is going to be take my range. I guess I'll just make it clear. The min here is going to be the range is min. All the way up to the previous is min minus 1. The min is going to be the ranges. Sorry, this is going to be the previous max plus 1. At 15, we're going to go up. And we're going to keep that. So I think it's actually just both of them. Because this is this. Those are the same. And this is keep my range the same except change max to prev min minus 1. Keep my range the same. So change max to prev minus 1. I think this is right. I'm just going to hit compile so I see if everything's working. It looks like all the types work, but I haven't implemented that loop, so we're almost there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to discard all the values. We're just going to focus on the ranges. So now I've got this. And what I want to do is track fresh food IDs. And I'm going to delete the old thing. We do want to maybe map. And so what this is going to do is it's going to take a list of ranges and return an integer. And I'm going to move this up here closer to my cut function because that's what I want to call. All right, so what I'm going to do is go through all the ranges, keep track of all the previous ranges. So what I'm going to do is loop. And I need to kind of have a state that I'm thinking. Previous ranges. At the very beginning, there are no previous ranges. When I run this, there's nothing above 5 and 3. So we start that empty. And then count is going to be a number. And so I'm going to take all the ranges and we're going to work top to bottom or left to right. That's what the fold L is for. And we're going to call this loop. And so how the loop works, I'm going to give this type a nickname. I'm going to call this state. Previous ranges is going to be a list of ranges, and the count is going to be an int. And this is going to help me annotate this function here. So we're going to take each range one at a time, and we are going to take in state and return state. And when we're done with this loop, we should be able to just get the count field. So this is a little shortcut for saying take the state and do state.count. So we're going to use that. Fancy shorthand there. All right, so what loop needs to do is it needs to call cut a bunch. So this is my range. This is my state. What I want to do is I want to cut for all the previous things, state dot previous ranges. For each one of these, I want to basically do another fold. Well, so this is going to be called previous range. So just a singular one. We can call it prev here, just like we did below. And we got to figure out what this state's going to be. So inside of here, we are keeping track of kind of the modified ranges. And so we said when it starts, we're just going to insert ourselves. And so what I want to do is call cut with the previous range and the modified ranges. And it looks like this is the exact order of this. So I think we can just say cut. So I'm going to say modified ranges. It's a list of ranges. This is when we're done with this full process, we're going to get a list of ranges back, as you can see. So we had a list. So this, we're going to keep looping through it. We're going to keep cutting it, and then we're going to end up with a final list of ranges. We start with just ours, the incoming original one, and then our state is going to get modified. Our state is going to append I'm just going to put it at the end of the list. I don't think we're going to run into performance trouble with that. But if we do, I'm going to have to change this into a fold R. All right, fine, I'll fold left to right. This is risky. Every time I do this, where I prepend to the front and then I loop through backwards, it's like, this is like scary mode. But I think we'll be okay. This will be the existing running total plus the length of ranges. And so if you take the modified ranges and you map them all using this max minus min plus 1 to range length, and then you sum all those up, that's going to give you the amount to add to the state. So we just need to implement this, and that was this right here. So I'm just going to put it here and totally screw up all of our formatting. But as we saw before, it's just this formula. So we're going to use the formula that we kind of built up over time. Format this to get our colors back, allegedly. And something's goofed. What did I do wrong? Let's see. Length equals, oh. Oh. Compile. Just 14. Okay, sorry, now it's fixed. Sorry about that. 14, is that the answer? Is 14 the answer? It's 14. Okay, so we did a bunch of mental math. We did a bunch of thinking. That was kind of fun. It's only going to be fun if I get the answer right. So I'm going to go here, part 2, save, just in case the real data fries my computer. I'm going to come over here. We were really careful not to store like a big growing list, so I think we're going to be okay. But let's see. That's a big number. That's a big number. And it went real fast, didn't it? Ah! I think this is going to be an off by 1. The answer is too low. Dang it. That's the first time this happened to us. Okay, something is wrong. I'm really like really thinking that just to make sure that I get the same number. Sorry, I'm like scrolling through everything here. 1. Okay, that's the same number. So it is using these ranges. Fresh foods. Do you think these numbers are so big I need to keep track of my count as a float? Is that crazy? Will I get a different answer if I use a float instead of an integer? Like, how big is this? I'm sure that's less than the max int size, right? Well, that has to be less, but maybe the actual answer is bigger. Let me keep track of my count with a float, because it just has more, like more, whatever you call it, can store more. Nope. What do you want? Oh. I think that's the same thing, right? I don't think this is a... Okay, great. Okay, so I think I'm gonna go back to int. Maybe that'll bite me in the butt, but I have not convinced myself that that's the problem. Okay, we're back here. We have just 14. I want to modify my input and see if I'm cutting the way I expect. Is this doing what I want it to do? What? My max is this one. Okay, but I'm like trying to visualize if I don't think this could change anything. Maybe I'm not thinking of the other two cases where the previous is in the range. No, because if there's any overlap, then I think we're good. I think I can either test this or test this. That's all one situation. So I don't think there should be 4 cases. There should be, or I guess I have 5 cases here. Let's see if that's right. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, there should only be 4 branches here. So the first branch is, so if my right hand, this is going to be confusing for you. My right hand is the range. What I'm saying is the range, that's my middle case. So here, that's case 3, where I delete the whole thing. The second branch is, oh no, sorry, I assumed equal length. There is 5 branches. There's 1, yeah, 2 is what I'm testing. So the previous is completely engulfed in this. This is not in this range. This is not in this range. So I would be able to hit that branch. I guess the question is, with this hit, I think these are mutually exclusive. So the order that I do this first branch and the second branch, I don't think matters. Okay, instead of me doing all this in my head and being a crazy guy, what I want to do is I want to finally use some debug logging. And for each step, I bet it's this fold-R. Ooh, I bet it's the fold-R. No, it's probably not the fold-R. It could be the fold-R. It's not the fold-R. Anyway, modify. What we're going to do is have some fun. all the ranges. Oh yeah, this prints backwards, I think. So this is the most. So this. Max minus min plus 1. 0 plus 1. Okay, that's good. Okay, I just want to make sure that my counts are right. Okay. This is 3. This is 5. This was 5. This was 1. And so that's how I got 14. So I want to intentionally mess with the input and try to pull a sneaky here. Let's put all of this inside of this. Okay, great. So I started here, 13 to 15. Good. I don't know if you can see this. I might be in the way. Let me just check to see if I'm blocking you. No, you're good. Okay. 13, 14, 15. And then when I try to do this one, it cuts out the 13 and the 14. And so I'm left with 10, 11, 12. And then I get to this one, and it keeps them all. Yeah, that's 5. Then I get to this one. I already got the 12. I already got the 13, 14, 15. Let me just try this. One, two, three, 4. Max, min. I'm doing wrong here. Let's just test a few of these. 13, 15. Now I want to do 16 to 17, or 16 to 16. This should cut out one more from here, so 3 should be the top number. Okay, it is, and I got it, so it's still the same range. What could I be doing wrong? If previous is fully inside, I feel like this is like a well solved problem already. Like this has been done in like anything that detects collisions anywhere. This just cuts them all. I wonder if I'm double counting. I wonder if this is the problem. No, because I don't think I can ever. Can I ever have overlap? Like, I'm gonna do some weird edge cases. Like if this is 13 to 13, and this is 13 to 13. This my bug? Counts this once. That's right. That's right. This gets them all. The next one doesn't. I am stumped. And I got 8 minutes till the Bulls lose. I mean, win. Until they win. what I did wrong. Let's take a look. 14. I did get 14. Let's take a look at the puzzle input. These are big numbers, man. These are some big numbers, brother. Oh, well, sure. I mean, I have no way to verify this. Oh, yeah, well, another reason I can't verify it is because all my logs are in the other the other code base. Okay. Okay, so it starts with this. These don't overlap, but okay, this one unchanged. Wait, why did this go up? This went up. If they're the same, it adds one? If they're the same, it adds one to the min. Wait, what the heck is happening here? Oh no, these are different numbers. But this is weird, right? What am I printing? This is the original, and this is the new one. What is the biggest number? Should all of these be floats? Am I crazy? Should every single thing be a float? Everywhere I'm using an inch, should it be a float? Float. Float. Range. Range is a list of floats. Float. 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 I don't care about those. Float. I hope it's a rounding error because my mind is broken. 2-7. What the heck? What changed? What changed? Did I edit the... Oh, yeah, I edited that. I think it ended in those digits last time. Yeah, I think that's still wrong. I am stumped. I wonder what I'm not thinking about here. I'm blindly trusting that these ranges are positive. It's got to be a me issue. It can't be a... I could validate that, but... Cool. Yeah, it's pretty easy to see that these are all just like... Yeah, they are. Okay, but there are some that are just single digits. I promised, if my answer was wrong, that I would get rid of the fold R. I promised I would do that. I said it always wrecks me. So I will get rid of the fold R. I don't think this is going to fix anything. And I will prepend this to the end. That it's available. It's still going to be this, though. Yeah. Okay. So I correctly used fold R, which feels good. Oof. this. Cut takes the previous range and a list of all of my originals. I start with the original and I loop, and we saw that working at a small scale. I'm curious about one thing. Let's go back to the puzzle input, or this. I'm curious if I add the modified ranges in, if it's going to make it slower, faster. Do I get a different answer? So here I get 14. Before I was saying the previous ranges, I'm going to add my original range. What happens if I do this? Same answer. Same answer for this. Let's see if this this change does it. I just think it's going to be slower. Why? What? Why would that do that? I modify ranges. What? Why would that change anything? This, I'm gonna just keep this here. Oh, fold L. Fold L. Fold L is bigger. What? Fold R. Fold R is smaller. Wait, it was the fold R? What the what? What the heck? It was fold R, man. Oh god, I bet you're laughing in your little YouTube graves, boys. Ooh. Well, we did it. We did it. It was fold R. I typed fold R. I was scared. The Bulls game's starting right now, so I'm getting out of here. But rest assured, I'm gonna upload this thing and get to the bottom of what happened. We did it. Day 5, fold R. Never use fold R. I don't care what the performance junkies say. Never use fold R. Goodbye. See you tomorrow. Bye.